Hi, welcome back to the Cordless Vacuum Guide, and in this video, I'll be comparing 3 Roomba auto-empty robots, the i3 Plus, the i6 Plus, and the flagship S9 Plus. These 3 models represent the 3 different tiers in iRobot's self-emptying robot vacuum lineup. I'll share how these models are similar and different than the test results to determine which option is the best. I've spent a lot of hours testing these robots, and there's a lot to unpack, so let's get into it. iRobot was the first brand to introduce auto-empty robots when they unveiled the i7 Plus. Subsequently, other submodels have come out, including the i3 Plus, i6 Plus, and the flagship S9 Plus. The i3 Plus is Roomba's least expensive option, and iRobot could bring the price down because it doesn't have V-SLAM, so it relies primarily on floor sensors like these downward-facing optical sensors for navigation. It doesn't have a top-mounted camera, so it cannot recognize landmarks and lacks advanced features like keep-out zones. The i6 Plus is similar to the i3 with the overall design, having the same size dustbin and brush layout underneath. However, one feature it has over the i3 Plus is the top-mounted camera and SLAM, so not only will it draw maps, but it also saves them. The S9 Plus is a revamped design with a new D-shaped frame, wider extractors, and redesigned side brush, all designed to improve cleaning performance and efficiency. It has the same imprint smart mapping technology as the i6 Plus, so it moves in a similar pattern. Of the 3 models, only the i6 Plus and S9 Plus can save maps, have access to keep-out zones, and selective room cleaning. The i3 Plus doesn't have those features, and as I've mentioned in my previous video, it's a smarter version of the Roomba i5. There are other submodels available, namely the i4 Plus, which is a clone of the i3 Plus, but with an option for a larger battery. The i6 Plus and i7 Plus are also similar products with the same design, but with a slight color variation and accessories out of the box. Full disclosure, I've only tested the i3 Plus, i6 Plus, and S9 Plus, so I could only share results for these variants. All 3 have a clean base station, at least the Plus version, that empties the dustbin automatically after every run. The i3, i7, and S9 have non-Plus options without the auto-empty feature, but I'd strongly recommend the Plus version since it brings a lot of convenience to the table of not having to empty the dustbin manually. iRobot utilizes a bag system for their self-emptying robots with around a 2.5-liter capacity based on the eye test, comparing it to other brands. This volume can hold maybe up to 30 days worth of debris, but that depends on what it needs to clean and frequency. All 3 have the ramp-style base station where the robot sits, which I prefer over self-emptying robots with vertical ports because of its usability on both hard floors and carpet. The i3 and i6 have the same rear-mounted dustbin with the same capacity at 400 milliliters, while the S9 has 25% more volume at 500 milliliters. I like the S9 Plus dustbin over the i3 and i6 since it has a larger filter and the wider opening makes it easier to empty. The i3 and i6 dustbin have a smaller opening, making dirt disposal a little bit more tricky, but with a clean base station, it shouldn't be a sticking point. Flipping these robots over, you can clearly see why iRobot decided to change things with the S9. It has much wider extractors, almost doubling the width of the i3 and i6. iRobot also moved it from the middle towards the front end. Another change for the S9 is the side brush, now with 5 shorter prongs instead of the 3 on the i3 and i6. I like the new side brush design as it doesn't spin as fast. The wider extractors help it pick up more debris, and the high airflow enables the S9 to pick up dirt cleanly, almost as well as a stick vacuum. These robots can move in what iRobot calls neat rows or straight back and forth lines, a definite upgrade over their entry-level options that move randomly. The i3 Plus is the least smart of these smart robot vacuums as it doesn't have V-SLAM or visual SLAM. This means it doesn't have a top-mounted camera or SLAM, which is the brains of nearly all smart robot vacuums in the market. While it can move in straight lines, it can't save maps or remember landmarks, so it can't clean specific areas or zones. But it's the least expensive of all self-emptying iRobot alternatives. The i6 Plus and S9 Plus have imprint smart mapping, iRobot's fancy term for V-SLAM. These variants rely on a top-mounted camera, SLAM, and floor sensors to track location, draw, and save maps. One advantage these models have over the i3 Plus is the map saving and zone cleaning abilities. Users can specify areas they want to be cleaned at a specific time if needed through the app. I tested coverage for all 3 by scattering Quaker oats all over this room. The S9 Plus clearly had the best results as it was the most efficient at debris pickup, You can see on this clip the clear lines the S9 makes as it picks up debris. This wasn't the case with the i3 or i6, and you can see the airflow variance at play here, which I'll get to later. After the first pass, the S9 nearly picked up everything except for this patch near the clean base station. The i3 and i6 have nearly identical results. Passes weren't as clean, and you can see the fast spinning side brush in play here, scattering portions of debris away from the extractors. Both robots still cleaned decently, picking up a high percentage, but it left scattered fragments afterward. A new test I'm implementing is efficiency tests, by timing how long it takes to complete the cleaning cycle. So it's a two-pronged approach. First is the time it takes to complete the run, and second, how efficient it is with debris pickup. The S9 Plus was the least efficient, taking over 32 minutes from start to finish after a 2-pass run, while the i6 Plus finished at around 28 minutes. Surprisingly, the i3 Plus, without imprint smart mapping, was the most efficient at 22 minutes and 46 seconds. I'm not sure why. It could be that the i3 Plus has a fixed crisscross navigational pattern with edge cleaning runs sprinkled in between, so it doesn't have to make as many decisions, which I noticed with the S9 and i6, and that could be a contributing factor. The i3 Plus provides an excellent combination of efficiency and thoroughness with a 2-pass run, but without the advanced features I've mentioned earlier, like keep-out zones. When you factor how much debris it picked up per pass, the S9 wins easily. You could see it picked up nearly everything after the first pass, and it was done in the 14-minute mark. All 3 Roombas are decent at navigating around tight spaces and didn't get wedged on this office chair. One area iRobot improved upon these newer variants is its less aggressive algorithm, meaning it doesn't bump into objects as hard. But I noticed the S9 on several instances moving this office chair as it tried to navigate its way out. The Roomba S9 Plus has the highest airflow of the 3 options here, maxing out at 25 CFM at the highest setting. In comparison, the i3 and i6 have much less at 7.27 and 8.2 CFM respectively. Not great results, but the counter-rotating extractors make up for it with high-end agitation. For the S9 Plus, users have several options to utilize its strong motor. One alternative is selecting between Detail or Quiet Clean. Detail Clean activates the middle power setting to balance runtime and performance, while Quiet Clean utilizes the lowest setting, prioritizing runtime. Another alternative is using the custom setting where users can select the power mode and cleaning passes manually. Unfortunately, turning on the max power setting will adversely affect the S9's runtime, reducing it from 75 minutes to around 45 minutes. The i3 and i6 only have one fixed power setting and will run for up to 75 minutes. Cleaning performance results mirror the airflow scores, with the S9 Plus picking up the highest overall averages on both surface and embedded dirt. The eye test confirms these results as the S9 made the cleanest passes thanks to the wide brush roll and high airflow. Even in its lowest setting, the S9 has more airflow than the i3 and i6, so you can utilize this setting and pick up debris at a decent rate. It's the best in the sound on hard floor test, picking up 100% with the max power toggled and 99.2% in the middle setting, so the drop-off isn't much. It's also the best in deep cleaning tests, with a 93% average, better than the i3 and i6. The results between the i3 and i6 were close, not much difference between the two, but the gap between these variants and the S9 is significant. A couple of things hampering these two are the fast spinning side brush and narrower extractors. But agitation is still excellent, and despite the low airflow, both were decent on surface and deep cleaning tests. The S9 Plus is clearly the best of the 3 at cleaning debris, while the i3 and i6 are really close, almost a toss-up with no clear winner between the two. Another benefit of the S9's revamped design is its efficiency at cleaning edges, as it picked up nearly everything on this test area, more than the i3 and i6 that left fragments. It also picked up more on this quarter-inch crevice, which is a good indicator of its superior airflow. The i6 Plus was the best with 5-inch hair strands, picking up 100%, while the S9 Plus was the best overall when you combine 5 and 7-inch results, both above 80%. The i3 Plus was the worst, probably because it had the weakest airflow of the 3. One downside of the S9's high airflow is the high noise levels, maxing out at 74.1 decibels, close to 10 decibels louder than the i3 and i6. Fortunately, you can adjust the power to tone down noise levels if the max setting is too much. To conclude this comparison, the Roomba S9 Plus is hands down the best performing option of the bunch at cleaning debris, as proven by measured and eye tests. It's the most efficient as well, with the wide extractors spanning nearly the entire width. But the question is, are you willing to pay the premium for it? The i3 and i6 are too close with cleaning performance to declare an outright winner, with the i3 having the edge with efficiency, finishing the run in less time than the i6. But it doesn't have imprint smart mapping, so it doesn't have features like keep out zones and selective room cleaning. So the question is, are you okay not having these advanced navigational features? If the answer is yes, go with the i3. But if you need them, the i6 or S9 are your best alternatives, depending on how much you're willing to spend. I hope this video has been helpful to you in deciding between these robots. If it did, consider giving it a thumbs up. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified for future comparisons like this. Links are in the description for more information. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.